In this video, I want to point out the dangers of having the Bible in the hands of someone who doesn't know history or surely doesn't know the Bible. In a series of videos that I've been doing lately concerning the Seventh-day Adventist and 2,300 days investigative judgment, Doug Batchelor makes a statement in there that we're living in the last stages of the church now, and that last stage began in 1844. First of all, he gave no indication as to why he believes that, gave no data, gave no information whatsoever as to why he thinks the last days of the church started in 1844. In fact, he didn't give anything because there is nothing. The Bible doesn't suggest any 7 stages of churches and that we're now living in the last age. Of course, he came up with the date of 1844 because that's what Ellen White has told him to believe, and that's what they've got to say now. He's apparently afraid to do any independent study of his own, so he has to parrot what Ellen White has told them to say. So that's where he gets the date 1844 from, and that's it. There's absolutely no evidence for that in the Bible at all. And then in video, he's dealing with Michael the Archangel, trying to convince everybody that Jesus is an angel. And he can't help but just, slander the Catholic Church or get his bias to sin against the Catholic Church whenever he can. So he makes a rather stupid statement in there when he stops, he says, and by the way, you hear the name, the angel Raphael? It's just an invention and tradition of the Catholic Church. Well, Pastor Batchelor, not only are you not much of a theologian, but you're not much of an historian either. If you go back and look at the book of Tobit 12:15, you'll see in there where it says, "For I am the angel Raphael, one of the 7 who stand before the Lord." Now, Tobit existed long before the Catholic Church did. And of course, not being an historian, you probably don't know that. But the book of Tobit was written long before the Catholic Church came into being. And it mentions there the angel Raphael. So apparently Raphael isn't an invention or a tradition, is it? It is actually an archangel that is mentioned way before the Catholic Church came into being. And in fact, if you read that again, Tobit 12:15, where it says, now listen to this carefully, "For I am the angel, one of the 7 who stands before the Lord." Go over to Revelation chapter 8, verse 2, where it says, "And I saw 7 angels standing in the presence of God." There are many scholars who believe these are the 7 archangels, of which Raphael is one of them. So that it is an indication that while he may not be specifically mentioned by name, it is a good indication from Tobit, where Raphael is one of the 7 that stand before the Lord, in Revelation 8:2, where it says, "I saw 7 angels standing in the presence of God," that he is one of those angels. Of course, he not being much of a theologian or surely not much of a historian, he probably forgets about the apocalyptic books of the Jewish people. For in Enoch chapter 10, verse 4, it says this, "And again the Lord said to Raphael." Now here's a book from the Jewish people where God is speaking directly to Raphael. Okay? Again, the angel of the Lord said to Raphael. So Enoch was before the Catholic Church as well. So apparently there is a Raphael, and it's not a tradition or an invention of the Catholic Church, is it, Pastor Batchelor? Of course, you couldn't do your study, or you couldn't do any research to find out that Raphael's name is mentioned several times way before the Catholic Church ever came into existence. All you needed to do was show your biasness of the Catholic Church and ignorance of church history or history at all. And then I want to bring up something that I found very interesting as well. In John chapter 5, verse 4, it says this. Now, this is the lame man who stands by the pool, and the pool was supposed to be stirred up at certain times of the year, and whoever was the first in the pool would be healed. And in that passage there in John chapter 5, verse 1 through 4, in verse 4 it says, "For the angel of the Lord went down at certain seasons into the pool and troubled the water. Whosoever then first, after the troubling of the water, stepped in was made whole, with whatsoever disease he was holding." there are some scholars who believe this to be the angel Raphael. And here's why they believe this to be the angel Raphael. Do you know what Raphael means? God heals. Here's an angel of the Lord going down, troubling the water. Whoever steps into it is cured. Raphael means God heals. So in your effort to show your biasness against the Catholic Church, all you succeeded in doing is showing your ignorance of history. That's all you succeeded in doing. Because Raphael is mentioned long before the Catholic Church came into existence. So maybe if you would do more study and more on history and more on theology, that you wouldn't have to mislead people the way you do. Maybe you could just practice, let's say, telling the truth sometimes. Until next time, this has been Golly saying, oh no, wait a minute, I got to say this one more time. Also in these videos, and I want people to go watch those videos and see in there where he talks about Jesus ascending into heaven, where he actually thinks that Jesus ascended into heaven twice. The first time, remember, he went into the Holy of Holies to activate the holy place, most holy place. Then he came back to earth, gave him the Holy Spirit, and went back again. But this time, they apparently locked him out of the most holy place, and now Doug Batchelor puts him in the holy place. But yet the book of Hebrews says, when he entered into heaven, he sat down at the right hand of the Father, having already made atonement. So the book of Hebrews puts him there with his work completed. So I believe you're right, Pastor Batchelor. You're not much of a theologian, and surely not much of an historian. Until next time, this has been Golly saying, God bless.